Dear ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, welcome to Azerbaijan. I'm glad to see all of you here today at the annual forum, which already transformed many years ago into one of the leading international conferences on global scale. I think that Baku Global Forum now is in line with such a leading international fora like Davos World Economic Forum and Munich Security Conference, with respect to the potential of Nizami Gencevi International Center, with respect to the list of participants. Really, we see that annual discussions here in Baku lead to better understanding of different important international issues. The world is changing rapidly. Unfortunately, new areas of instability and confrontation emerge. If we compare what we've been discussing last March and what we are discussing today, we see substantial changes. Geopolitical changes are here. Therefore, experience of members of NGIS and participants, their knowledge, their experience as heads of states, governments and foreign ministers really is something which the world needs today in order to address issues of global importance. This time we have, I think, the record number of participants. More than 400 guests attend 11th forum from 68 countries. So we also have expanded geography, and among our guests we have more than 40 acting and former heads of states and governments. So this really is an illustration of a huge intellectual potential of the forum. Yesterday I met the members of board of NGIS. We had a very good and cordial discussions and sincere discussions about many issues. Our meetings prior to the forum already have a good record to be a good tradition. And yesterday I once again expressed gratitude to the members of board for the activity, because throughout the year NGIS is doing a great job in bringing most important urgent issues of global agenda to the attention of decision makers in different parts of the world. Once again, I'd like to express my personal gratitude to the co-chairs of NGIS, Madam Vicky Freiberger and Mr. Serageldin, for their continuous contribution to NGIS, for their excellent performance as co-chairs, and they really managed to create a strong team of very special personalities and to organize the work of the center as a really result-oriented international NGO, which today is well respected on global scale. As I said, since we met last time, many things happened in the world and also in our region. Changes in our region may seem to have a local character, but actually I think that they have a much broader implication, because the main geopolitical change which happened since we met last time here a year ago is a full restoration of territorial integrity and sovereignty of Azerbaijan. And this is a really very serious geopolitical change, which will have, I think, a lot of positive consequences with respect to resolution of conflicts which seem to be unresolvable. For many years, we've been working in order to find peaceful solution to the conflict. For many years, including our annual meetings here prior to the Second Karabakh War, we were always talking about injustice, occupation, violation of international law, non-implementation of UN Security Council resolutions. And we continued to talk about that because we wanted this issue to be in the center of attention of international community. We wanted justice to prevail, but unfortunately, it didn't happen by peaceful means. For 28 years of the activity of the former Minsk group, result was zero. And 28 years now, when we analyze and look back how it continued, we are absolutely sure that the main objective of the Minsk group was not to resolve the conflict, but to freeze it, to make Armenian occupation eternal, and to try to communicate with us inevitability of our agreement with occupation. This is the main reason why the conflict was not resolved by peaceful means, along with, of course, unconstructive position of Armenian governments, different governments starting from the beginning of 90s until today. There was another message which regularly was channeled to us from the world's leading capitals, that there is no military solution to the conflict. We said, yes, okay, we may agree with that, but what is alternative? If alternative is to agree with occupation and agree with existence of a separatist regime on almost 20% of our international recognized territory, that's not something we can agree with. We can agree that there can be no military solution in one case, if you, the Minsk Group co-chairs, the leading countries of the world, the permanent members of United Nations Security Council, will force occupational forces of Armenia to withdraw from our lands. You, who yourself adopted 4 United Nations Security Council resolutions which demanded immediate and unconditional withdrawal of Armenian troops from Azerbaijani territories, you should provide implementation of these resolutions, otherwise the conflict will never be resolved. Unfortunately, all our attempts to find a peaceful solution to the conflict failed, and the reason I already explained. So the resolution of the conflict by military political means actually demonstrates that in order to achieve peace, sometimes you have to use military option. And that's what is happening now. Now we are closer to peace with Armenia than ever before. Never in the history of independence of the Southern Caucasus, the peace was not as close as today. And this is a result of Second Karabakh War. This is a result of anti-terror operation which we held last September for less than 24 hours and put an end to separatism forever in Azerbaijan and restored our sovereignty and territorial integrity. That's why when I say that what happened here in Azerbaijan during the last 3-4 years is not an issue of local character. It has a lot of already positive implications on the situation not only in the Southern Caucasus. I think it can be used as a pattern to resolve conflicts which seem to be unresolvable, but first of all, of course, with the prevalence of international law. International law norms were on our side. Azerbaijan was a subject of illegal occupation and ethnic cleansing and genocide. All these are well-known historical facts. And we restored justice and international law ourselves. No one helped us, we did it ourselves. And we demonstrated strong political will and also our potential, because strong political will without strong military capability and unity of the people will not lead to success. So a combination of all factors, our economic development, our financial capability, our defense capability, training of our military personnel, active and proactive foreign policy when all the leading international organizations like United Nations, OSCE, Non-Aligned Movement, Islamic Cooperation Organization, and others fully supported Azerbaijan's position on the issue of territorial integrity. Was it possible to avoid military solution? Yes. And yesterday we discussed broadly with the members of board, and I a little bit opened the curtain of insights. There was a chance to reach an agreement in 2018 when there was a change of government in Armenia, and we got assurances from a new Armenian government that they will behave in line with international law and territories will be returned. We had those expectations, and if at that time Armenian new government would have preferred to behave as they do it now, then there would have been no need to restore our sovereignty by force. But unfortunately, in 2019, Armenian new leadership put forward absolutely unacceptable proposals like Azerbaijan have to negotiate with separatists. All what has been elaborated as a basis for peace agreement should be wiped out, and everything should start from scratch. And Armenia is not going to return 1 centimeter of occupied territories. And moreover, the famous slogan articulated by Armenian Prime Minister that Karabakh is Armenia, first, it's absolute violation of international law, and second, it was too ambitious for a country which thought that they may keep our lands forever. So we had to teach them a lesson in 2020, September, November, and we thought that this lesson is enough for them to understand that the time when they could rely on foreign forces and keep the lands of other countries under occupation has gone. Was there opportunity to achieve peace during the last 3-4 years? Yes, only if Armenia behaved constructively with respect to our proposal of draft of peace agreement and did not insist on incorporation into this peace agreement so-called Nagorno-Karabakh republic status. First, this kind of republic do not exist. It exists only in their dreams and in their mythology. And second, our position again was totally in line with international law. In interstate agreements, issues of internal politics should not be present. Based on the Capitulation Act, which Armenia had to sign on 10 November 2020, they obliged to withdraw their occupational forces from remaining part of Karabakh, which at that time was not under our control. But for 3 years they did not do it. Not only they did not withdraw almost 15,000 of their military contingent, but they smuggled weapons, mines, ammunition to Karabakh, taking advantage of the situation when we did not control in the aftermath of the Second Karabakh War, the communication. After we started to control the communication, of course, this smuggling have stopped, but nevertheless, during the last anti-terror operation, destroyed and taken as a trophy military ammunition, including heavy weapons and armored vehicles. Cost and worth is close to $1 billion. During the Second Karabakh War, military trophies and what has been eliminated during the war cost was close to $5 billion. And the question is, where did Armenia get all those money? Of course, it's clear that all the weapons they were using against us were given to them free of charge. Now, when Karabakh issue is closed, now we are very close to peace. That's what we think. And Azerbaijan is ready to continue peace process. Meetings at the level of foreign ministers of both countries now resumed, and we think that peace is reachable. That is what we want. We restored historical justice and international law, and now it's time to put an end to hostility in the region. One issue which I also want to draw your attention to is international reaction to our anti-terror operation, which was absolutely adequate in majority cases. International community in public statements, different countries and international organizations, and also in our behind the doors communication expressed full understanding with what we have done, what we had to do, and understanding that there have been two red lines which Armenia crossed prior to our anti-terror operation. In general, reaction of international community was absolutely positive. To inform you about some details, just want to say what happened in the beginning of September and why anti-terror operation happened in September. Because in the beginning of September, Armenian Prime Minister sent a congratulatory letter to separatist regime in Karabakh, congratulating them with so-called independence. And that was a big surprise and bad surprise for us, because the same Prime Minister of Armenia publicly recognized Azerbaijan's territorial integrity in 2022 at the meeting in Prague, and several times reiterated that Armenia has no territorial claims to Azerbaijan. And then what was that congratulation about? That was a congratulation to separatists, and that was a violation of Azerbaijan's sovereignty, an absolutely unacceptable and contradictory gesture. And then on the 9th of September, so-called Nagorno-Karabakh Republic, which again exists only in the dreams of some people, held so-called presidential elections, and that was another red line. So this was actually the final triggers which led to anti-terror operation, which lasted several hours, and after 23 hours, separatists surrendered. There were no casualties among civilians, and as soon as separatists surrendered, we stopped operation, and that was actually the end of the story. Talking about international reaction, unfortunately, I have to mention position of one country which is absolutely in contradiction with international community, and this is France. I regret it very much, because relations between Azerbaijan and France since beginning of 90s developed in a positive direction. There have been numerous high-level visits, a lot of business contacts. 13 cities from each country had agreement, and they were named brother cities. But reaction of French government to Second Karabakh War and anti-terror operation was absolutely inadequate. There were 5 attempts to bring this issue to the Security Council of United Nations and to impose sanctions on Azerbaijan for what we have not done. We did not do anything in contradiction with international law. All these 5 attempts failed because other members of Security Council did not support that. After that, there were several attempts to sanction Azerbaijan in European Union, and those attempts also failed. European Union majority countries did not support that. And unfortunately, what happened after that is absolutely beyond normal understanding. There was an act of vandalism in France, in the city of Evian, which used to be a brother city to one of the cities of Azerbaijan. And the monument of the Azerbaijani poetess Natavan was vandalized. Just want to show you the monument and the red color and the broken nose, and this happened in France as a result of the failure to sanction Azerbaijan in Security Council and EU. And after that, what happened? The authorities did not try even to wash out the color or to restore the monument, and what they've done, they've just wrapped it. And in this wrapped position, it stayed for more than 1 or 2 months. And all our requests to the French authorities through our embassy and other channels, and to the mayor's office of Evian to stop continuing the vandalism, because wrapping it like this and keeping it there without even attempt to clean this red color is a vandalism in itself. And there was no reaction, neither from French government nor from Evian authorities. Then we started to insist that allow us to evacuate it, because this is an insult to us, this is a humiliation, and in the country like France, which pretends to be a moral leader, in many cases things like that are unacceptable. But it took us, again, several months to be able to evacuate it from Evian and bring it to the garden of Azerbaijani Cultural Center in Paris, where now Natavan is staying. This is just illustration of what we are facing after we restored our sovereignty. And this is illustration about double standards. France, which declared that they will send troops to Ukraine to help Ukraine to restore its territorial integrity, tries to punish Azerbaijan for our restoration of territorial integrity. Another topic which I want just to bring to your attention, and we discussed it broadly yesterday, it is a COP29. We count very much on NGIS to be active partner of Azerbaijan in preparation and during the conference. COP29 in Azerbaijan is a recognition of Azerbaijan's efforts with respect to green transition. As I said many times, including public comments, the fact that we have oil and gas is not our fault, and we should not be criticized for that. I think those who try to criticize us and those who made the adopted decision to award us with this honor to host this global event should understand that it is our intention to contribute to the issue of climate. And all what we are doing with respect to green transition already has its practical results. Last October, we inaugurated the biggest in the area of Caucasus and Central Asia solar power plant, 230 megawatts. 2 more are now in the process of construction and in preparation. Our plans until 2030 is to have a generating potential of 5,000 megawatts of renewables. And this is absolutely realistic because many contracts and MOUs have been signed. We actively work now on building the green energy cable from Caspian to Black Sea and further down to Europe. And the feasibility study of that project is almost ready. So COP29 will be for us first chance to demonstrate that the country which lives independently and do not depend on anyone can successfully develop. It is a demonstration of our right policies that Azerbaijan pursues for the last 30 years. And also from a practical point of view, it will be a chance for us to contribute to solidarity, because 4 years of our chairmanship in non-aligned movement created a very special atmosphere in this second after UN international institution of 120 countries. With 9 members of EU, Azerbaijan signed declarations on strategic partnership. We are members of Islamic Cooperation Organization with more than 50 members. So we have capability in bringing together different countries, and that is what is needed now to address the issues of climate. I don't want to take much of your time. I know that you have a very busy program. I will conclude now once again expressing gratitude to all our participants for being with us, especially to NGIS, and wish the forum success. Thank you.